Alright, welcome back. We're playing Neoform. Post bans, unbans, which happened like a week and a half ago. They're really sweet. Um, but this build is ludicrous, and I already trophied with it last night, so I'm not cutting enough of good cards to make it untrophyable. But this list is actually insane. So as you can see, I've cut the fluff here. I've cut the flex slots. For instance, like Wistfulness, Nourishing Shoals, those kinds of cards. Veil of Summers are also a flex slot, but I think that they're uncuttable in this meta where there's a bunch of rhinos and a bunch of living end and even more control now. So I don't think Veil of Summer is actually cuttable here, even though it is considered a flex slot. So I'm currently on 3 Veil of Summers. But if you look over here, you will see a kind of insane pile of creatures. There are 2 Griselbrands, there are 3 Ghaltas, and there are 3 Atraxas for some reason. Now, this looks strange. This is strange. There's almost never any reason for to have multiple Griselbrands, because if you have one stuck in your hand, you can just Ghalta, put it into play. And this would normally be the case. However, we have tech. Because in our sideboard is Summoning Trap, which reads, if a creature spell you cast this turn is countered by a spell or an ability an opponent controls, you may pay 0 rather than pay this spell's mana cost. And then you look at top 7, grab a creature from among them. Now, in the current meta, as I just mentioned, Rhinos and Living End are huge parts of the meta due to the unban of Violent Outburst and the banning of like Amulet cards, Boros cards. Basically, Cascade is much more common, which has made Vexing Bauble much more common, which is a sideboard card not against them, but also against us, because if someone plays a Vexing Bauble against us, that's able to counter a Rider that we try to play, because when we pitch 2 cards to try to cast a Rider, we're not spending any mana, so Vexing Bauble triggers and counters the Rider. Now, normally Vexing Bauble isn't actually that terrible of a card for us. Like, we can really easily deal with it because we have 7 main deck ways to deal with it, because Consign can counter the Bauble trigger. Veil of Summer makes your card uncounterable, not just to blue and black spells, but to Vexing Bauble. So normally you just have many ways to actually like deal with a Vexing Bauble, especially post-war once you get access to like Nature's Claim, the last Veil of Summer, etc., etc. Now, what if we use that against our opponent? Because if they have a Vexing Bauble in play and we play a Rider or pitch cast an Endurance, that gets countered. Oh no. What if we then either play a Veil of Summer or consign the next trigger or play a Nature's Claim destroying the Vexing Bauble, and then we play Summoning Trap? This is actually ludicrous. And as I mentioned earlier, I trophied with this, which might just be not cutting enough bad cards, because this still just does have the potential to go, hey, Rider, hey, Neoform, hey, get a Griselbrand, win the game. But this sideboard juke is actually kind of insane. Or not insane, I'm gonna say unhinged, because it's so weird. It's so unusual. I haven't even seen this actually done before. Mostly because Neoforms are normally the cards being countered, not the creatures ever. Is only good when your opponent has Vexing Bauble in play. And I'm hoping that there's enough Vexing Bauble going around that this works. Now, in terms of the sideboard, we have 4 Endurances, which are just going to help us, like, when we do sideboard and Summoning Trap, it's going to help us have a creature that will get countered by a Vexing Bauble. And it's overall just also a fine creature, honestly, in most of those matchups, because this will be, like, a way to pressure against control or stuff like that. We also have the 4th Veil of Summer, of course. And then we have 4 Nature's Claims, 4 Summoner's Traps, which basically this entire sideboard is built just to slot in here and take a bunch of cards out. Um, yeah, that's really about it. And then I was able to find 2 spawns for Mystical Disputes just as generally good cards against like our most problematic matchups like Belcher, Blue Black Control, stuff like that. I was able to find disputes, and I thought they were probably the best thing to put in. And yeah, we have 8 chonkers, and we're looking to trophy for a second time, because I wasn't recording last time. All right, game 1, we're playing El Puerco, which I will actually be checking people's last deck just to see if they're running Vexing Bauble. Mostly, I guess, for post board, but okay, they are on this as of last, about a month ago. Okay, cool. This is gonna be keep. It's kind of close, but turn 3 is a decent amount, especially with the backup Pact of Negation here. I'm relatively happy. And this is probably going to be Goryos, which, do they run Vexing Baubles? Looks like not. Tragic. So this is going to just be hoping my normal combo works. And we'll see if it does. It's nice to see they probably don't have Thoughtseizes here. That's like one good thing. Interesting. Yeah, one of the funny things about putting a bunch of chonkers in your deck is that, like, it mostly doesn't matter because they're mostly the same as, like, all the other, like, flex spots in that they're still just a green card that you can pitch to Rider, so you're not actually going down on cards that much. Okay. Hopefully they do not have Goryos. The way they're thinking, I feel like they have Goryos. That does not feel like a, what do I do here? Do I play another card draw spell? That feels like a, do I go for it right now? So we found the Rider. That's huge. And if they let me get to my turn, okay. So that is actually so good for me. I am going to fetch first, grab Basic Island, just leave myself with the most color options. Now I could grab Ghalta, put Atraxa into play, but that has the problem. If I need to Pact of Negation, then I'm only looking at 10 cards. So I'm going to leave myself an Eldritch Evolution here. And I will just Neoform into Griselbrand. And if they choose to, like, hard cast a Force of Negation, I have Pacts. So. Yep, that looks like... Nope, they're just flashing back Faithful Mending. That's fine. Never using a counterspell there. Because if I don't have to use a Pact of Negation, I don't want to. I don't want to have to dig towards a Consign, especially when they might be able to draw Thoughtseize here. So I'm not even able to draw right now. Are they on? Okay, good. They're not on Bowmasters. That's good to hear. They weren't a month ago. Normally they're not, but it's always good to check. Yeah, they have 2 Atraxas and a Griselbrand in there. Warping a Riddler is fine. They'll even let a scam happen. Yep, Thoughtseize is fine. I let that resolve. Because I still haven't pacted here, so I don't need to even protect my hand. Take Eldritch Evolution, which is reasonable. Now I will be drawing and potentially countering this. I'm gonna keep drawing. I want to know if I have a second Consign here. Or a win. And it looks like I have a win. Yeah, they're just dead. But I could have countered that, I could have not. It really did not matter at that point. here, unfortunately, this is like very much not the matchup Summoning Trap is for. They're not going to have really any Vexing Baubles. However, this is going to be a good Endurance matchup. They do have Solitudes, which is a bit of a problem. We're going to be on Veil of Summer because they're both a Thoughtseize and a Counterspell deck. Their most recent build is on total of 4 Force of Negations and 75 multiple Mystical Disputes. So I get a slight inclination to probably side a bit out of Neoforms, out of packs, potentially out of pacts. Yeah, it's a pretty easy swap. Put in Mysticals, take out Pact of Negations and these kinds of matchups, and then put in 2 Endurances. We don't need all 4 because we're not doing Summoning Trap shenanigans. But they should just be reasonable cards. I don't want two fewer Neoforms, which is reasonable. I probably can just shave, since I'm not... I can probably just do this, actually. Keep a 3rd Neoform and put in a 3rd Endurance. Just run it like this. Yeah, it's funny, actually, being able to just side out big creatures when the Summoning Traps are not good. So this is missing a Neoform effect. It's also missing a Veil of Summer. It's like missing a lot. I'm gonna mulligan. I'm gonna keep this bit of Consign. This technically is just turn 2. Will it work out? Who knows, but it is turn 2. What can they play turn 2 that I would want to Consign here? Because also representing a Veil of Summer is actually kind of huge. So I'm seeing nothing. So I will represent Veil of Summer. So make sure not to F6 to continue representing that. We could jam. I see no reason to. I'm going to hopefully be able to find a piece of protection using this Surveil land. Looks like they're trying to cast Faithful Mending. If they just have an Atraxa that is a problem, that I will need to just consign the Atraxa trigger. So if they just pass the turn, that's actually also a bit of a problem. But I will just surveil because I do still need to find. Yeah, they didn't respond to it with that. I'll bin a consign. It is very much not getting better for me, is the problem here right now. But they have a bunch of Force of Negations and Mystical Disputes that just, like, they have to have. So I'm going to keep waiting. It's nice I have a consign for the Atraxa trigger if they go for Goryos. Yep, they can Mending. Like, I'm not in a great spot. I'm in a pretty bad spot here. But this is technically workable. I might be able to play Mandrills out at some point to start pressuring life total. Yeah. That's something that just could happen. Nice thing though is if they take Neoform, which they are basically forced to, maybe. They might be able to take something else, but I do get to now play out Mandrills. I will surveil now. I will bin Atraxa. And I will full exile my graveyard, just so I have a replicated Consign up. Something important to note about this list is I do not have multiple Mandrills, so these summoner packs are only Allosaurus Rider at this point, which is not a good thing. Alright, there's the Ghalta. Now hopefully I'm able to just hit them for 4 or 5 times. I somehow don't think that's particularly likely to work. Like, if they go Solitude here, I am pretty much forced to consign the Solitude trigger. Potentially not, but yeah, they put Force of Negation into the graveyard. It does seem like they probably have at least another Force right now. So drawing a Neoform effect doesn't actually help me. Does seem like they're just drawing lands though, so it's nice. They've been a faithful mending. That's pretty good. That's a frog. It's pretty good for them as well. That's not bad. No, that's sweet. Hardcast a mystical. Or sorry, hardcast force. That makes sense. Could be I'm supposed to bolt that in. Continue to have replicated consign. I don't think I will though. Because technically if they go for Goryos here, I still am able to Summoner's Pact for an Endurance. Pitchcast Endurance. So I do have 2 lines to technically... Okay, they flashback Faithful Mending. It's annoying, but fine. If I draw land, then on their end step, I probably will just... Okay. Riddler is not good for me. I could be supposed to consign that. I probably am, actually. But they would still be able to draw off the card off of that, so... Y'all, I'll consign this. They have 1 card left in their hand. So if I draw a Neoform effect here, I should just win, which is nice. Not a Neoform effect, unfortunately. I could just grab and play a Generous Ent. That is not actually crazy. Like, that is probably what I'm going to do here. There's no better creature here. I could grab Disciple, play Disciple, draw 4. That's probably better, actually. Yeah, I'm gonna go do that. That's sweet. Okay. Fetch. Reading pool. So yes. Yeah, it's just Disciple here. I'll cast that. I still have one Surveil land in the deck. What is this? Goryos? That's interesting. I don't think I can beat that. So I have a line here where if I draw Consign here, I'm fine. So I have 4 looks for a Consign. Found Consign. That's interesting. So I could technically summon Respect right now. Go grab Rider, play Rider. That might be right. It'll be a 7/7. Yeah, let's try this. This also disincentivizes them attacking with Frog, which is a bit nice. As in, if they are able to get the cards in the graveyard enough to fly it. Alright, well, if they have Thoughtseize, I'm dead. But I can beat, I believe, Force of Negation. Or Dispute, because I'll just fully replicate. Let's card a Frog. Okay. Fly it. Okay, so we're flying. That's fine. Replicate 5. I see. Alright, I think this works. Yeah. This is 2 on each. Okay. Strange. Do they just have Goryos? Alright, they have Goryos. So that blocks there. Then that blocks there. Yeah, okay. That was hilarious. Do I want changes here? I don't think so. Xenagos probably can go. They're a Solitude deck. Yeah, that's fair. Just go up to the 4th Endurance. Alright, that was hilarious. Sure. Play Surveil first because I don't have a Veil of Summer anyway. I really don't want to draw that. And I have 3 Ghaltas in the deck, so I can actually very much afford to do that. Alright, so this is going to be a Thoughtseize. It's fine. They can't take Eldritch Evolution. They can only take the Genesis or the Mystical Dispute, depending on which piece of interaction or card they want to take. Both would be reasonable. Yep, they take the Dispute. So that means I can no longer counter a Frog, which is very much important if I wanted to be on a fair game plan. So now I do definitely just want to combo as fast as possible. Basic Forest, Genesis. They dispute it, that's fine. Consign's not that good here. Definitely would prefer to have most other cards here that would actually interact. Would love a Veil of Summer. They're at 14. That seems fine. Hopefully they play another fetch land, and this is a, like, 4-turn clock. Yeah, sure, I'll hit your graveyard. I don't know if they can do anything actually with these, but it seems right to do. At least gets the cards that they can eat with Frog. Just hoping this Endurance goes all the way. Oh, they just have Ephemerate. Sure, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I was just hoping they had, like, Force of Negations or Mystical Disputes in their hand, rather than Solitude plus Ephemerate. I knew this was possible. We're in a pretty rough spot now, though. Because they probably still have a Force of Negation. Chances are, at least. I'm not going to tap out. I'm going to keep Generous Ent as a green card. Could play as a Surveil, but... Seems like they have Goryos if they're surveilling main phase. So that implies the last two cards are probably Force of Negation Goryos, if I would have to bet. Those are just the two cards that make the most sense here. I can just hard cast this Ent here shortly. Yeah. If I draw... Okay, that's an Endurance. That's actually fine. They'll hopefully be able to ambush the Solitude. This is a very fun game we're playing, that's for sure. Then I'll try to surveil into a land here, funnily enough. Endurance. Hope they haven't drawn like another Ephemerate. Or another Solitude would actually also be a huge problem. But Ephemerate would actually be quite annoying because it would mean that I couldn't even play Generous Ent out next turn because of Rebound. So this feels like it might be then a Mystical Dispute if they're thinking that much instead of a Force of Negation. Consign is not good enough here. Just gonna pass with all the mana rather than Genesis on my turn. There'll be sometimes a reason to Genesis on my turn, sometimes there won't be. Gonna let this happen. Oh, they're thought seizing themselves. Oh. I don't think I realized that. Interesting. So I'm looking for... Oh, they just have mana. Wow. Okay. Well, is that not a problem? They have not played a land. This would not get me an extra mana right now. Could just go Mandrills. I was really hoping to see a Summoner's Pact or an Endurance here. That would have made this so much easier. And I would have played around a Mystical Dispute by just pitch casting the Endurance. As much as a faster clock would have been helpful, it just wouldn't be necessary. Well, it can't be the Flooded Strand, unfortunately. It's either Mystical Dispute or Mandrills. I have Mystical Dispute up here. I'll grab Mandrills. And just hope that Atraxa whiffs. That Consign evidently would have been very nice. I wasn't expecting this, to be fair. Force of Negation, Goryos, Thoughtseize, Solitude. This is a pretty good pile. That's a very good pile. Watery Grave, Force of Negation, Solitude, Thoughtseize. Yep. I do think I know the contents of the hand though, because like it does imply I think Mystical Dispute so heavily. And they don't technically, I think, have a threat here, which is interesting. Ooh, okay. So their last three cards are going to be... I'm putting them on Mystical Dispute. Solitude. Force of Negation. Those are the last three cards. I know two of them for sure, and I'm putting them on the third. I'm allowed to attack here. Veil of Summer's interesting, but probably not interesting enough now. I really just have to hope that they draw, like, the 4th Thoughtseize. How many Thoughtseizes are they at? Wow. Oh, no, just 2. Okay. Frog. Okay. I have an endurance for that, technically. Cycle this. Griselbrand. That is not what I want. Okay. Woo. So this makes them use the Mystical Dispute that I believe they have in their hand. And if they don't have the Mystical Dispute, then I'm not sure what they have. Yep, there's the Dispute. They would need to dump their entire hand to kill Endurance here. So I'm not entirely sure if they actually can do that. Yeah, they just play a land. They're not able to attack. We know that they're... Oh, wait, no, they have Solitude. Right. Forgot. So they have Solitude Force of Negation here, unfortunately. Which just is not going to be beatable. Very close match. If they didn't have Atraxa for that one turn, or maybe if I keep Consign there. I wonder if I can find keeping Consign. That would be very interesting. Pact. If they just force the negation this, I'm dead. Alright, they let it through. Very unfortunate, but I don't have the other... No, I have the other Ent. Okay. Is it just Ent? Yes. Puts me technically alive. Gain 5 life. Now I can technically draw Rider. Pitch both evolutions. And I still have a food token technically, so that might even buy me one more turn. I'm playing, even though I'm almost definitively dead here. There are technically lines where they just draw 3 lands in a row and I draw a creature. Hardcast and Atraxa. That'd be fun. Not a fairy. Sure. Okay. Again, this is all technically still beatable. Technically. So I'm supposed to keep playing. I go to 5. I will fetch to Thin. Alright, dead. Alright, match 2. This looks like a good hand. Cannot say no. Polluted Delta. Okay, so I'm gonna look to hopefully go for like a turn 3 protected with Veil of Summer. Nah, I need land. Is this Goryos again? That'd be a bit unfortunate, considering the Summoner's Traps in the sideboard will be useless. Could be... Oh, generic Esper Blank. I can afford to chill for one more turn, I think. I could be wrong, but I am able to consign an Atraxa trigger, so... I'm not entirely sure. Alright, well if they go for Griselbrand, I'm screwed. The one of Griselbrand in most lists, that's a bit unfortunate. White, blue. What is this? Another Faithful Mending? Why would they do that now? Oh, Goryos. Okay. And they bloody hit the... Okay. I'm gonna Veil in response, look for Pact of Negation. It's not a Pact of Negation. That's very unfortunate. Nice thing is they're not able to Thoughtseize me, but it's the only nice thing. Alright, they have a working Griselbrand. Let's try to get 1-2. I'm not able to concede yet here just because they could whiff on the Force of Negations. And they know what I want anyway. So it's not like I'm hiding information. So they block effectively 14. Yeah, I can't go for a kill. Pitch Ghalta, pitch Evo. Surely this works. Right, guys? Draw 7. Draw 7. Okay, well now Ghalta actually kills them, but they have Solitudes in their deck, so I can't even go for that. But I will have a bigger Griselbrand, which is nice. There's no way they don't have a Force, right? Holy shit. Holy shit! Boys, we did it! Okay. They have Solitudes, though. Okay. Yeah. That happens. I don't think that's actually beatable, now that I think about it. Yeah, the fact that they have Solitudes just is really rough here. Nope. Yeah, that's just tough. They had it turn 2 or turn 3 or whatever. Turn 3. Alright. Endurances. These come in. These packs come out. Xenagos comes out. I'm gonna keep in the packs, side a couple of Neoforms out, and side out a Griselbrand. Atraxa. Put one of the Neoforms back in, I think. It seems reasonable. I think this version of the deck is definitely worse into something like Goryos, because, like, we're missing 2 mystical disputes. We're missing a sideboard juke that is actually good against this kind of list. Instead, we just have endurances, which aren't bad. Like, that's 0 mana way to answer Goryos, but, like, it's not like a Tamiyo where, like, you play it and they suddenly need to rip a Solitude into your 1-drop, which is, like, one of the reasons I really enjoy Tamiyo is that even in the, like, even in against a deck that can remove a Tamiyo, like, the fact that they're forced to almost immediately rip a Solitude into it, that's actually just kind of huge, because you just spent 1 mana with a non-green card to remove 2 cards from their hand, and at least one of which actually mattered, being a Solitude. So that's why I like Tamiyo. Alright, we're back. Well, why do I have 23 minutes? I didn't realize I used that little time. Okay. I don't love this hand, but it's technically somewhat Thoughtseize proof, so I'm gonna keep it. Like, if they Thoughtseize here, they have to take the Planar Genesis, and I still am left with, like, Rider plus Summoner's Pact, the Surveil land to try to find a Neoform effect. Like, this isn't the worst. It's, like, just barely good enough. And it could be still a mulligan at this point, but since I don't have as good sideboard cards, I think this is fine. No. I would actually Thoughtseize something from my hand. Not something that really matters. Oh my god, they're doing it. They're doing it at the stupidest time too. Like, why not do it in my draw step? Yeah, also, if you look at my upload schedule, you'll see that I haven't posted in what, like 2 months? I meant to actually post a video a week ago. I recorded a league, did all that. But I was working on 4 hours of sleep after an RCQ, and I know how little I like watching someone misplay, and I imagine it's the same for most people. So I decided to not do that. Okay. Dispute's fine. We can still draw Neoform, just go off right now, and I would be disrespecting Force of Negation. Okay. Surveil. Bin that. Dig one deeper with Genesis on their turn. But yeah, so I recorded a video like a week ago. It was like just post-ban. And for most of it was, not particularly, coherent. So I did not post that. Actually, tell me in the comments, if you want to, if you hold the same, like, I straight up will, like, click off of a video sometimes if it, like, if they make a misplay, I will just straight up click off the video, which I don't know if that's exactly normal. Oh, cool. This resolved. What? Okay. I'll draw. But yeah, I just click off a video sometimes, which feels slightly like it feels kind of normal, but maybe not. I'm not entirely positive. Like it's this visceral reaction to seeing someone who's like kind of supposed to be an expert at the deck or something, like, and they just are very clearly not because they like make a misplay or even a small misplay sometimes. And I don't know. It's just funny. Unfortunately, they are able to beat me some percentage of the time here. Just with like discard a card Goryos. Hedge Maze. What am I missing here? I am missing a Rider Summoner's Pact. Very much not missing a land. So I have a slight problem here. Never mind. Start off with Veil. They have a Teferi, so we can't respond to it. So we have to start with it. Play this, pitching second Eldritch Evolution. And second Endurance, probably. Ghalta. Put these into play. Target you. Then I'll just probably play this Breeding Pool tapped, I imagine. And hope I'm not dead. Should be difficult for them to kill me from this spot, but technically possible. I'm F6. They have a Teferi. I don't even have a spell to cast anyway. I guess it's very... No, they can discard... Well, it's kind of difficult for them to both have, like, removal for Griselbrand and enough cards for Frog. And they have it. But I have an Endurance, so that doesn't work. Right. So they minus, and then if they find a Fatal Push for the Endurance, which shouldn't be in the deck. But if they have it, they have it. Otherwise, Bridgeworks Battle should just be lethal. And I can still Veil of Summer first. They can still Solitude, but they can always Solitude. They fly it. I block. Discard Force of Negation, which... Alright, so they don't have Solitude. So they're just dead here. Don't know what I could be playing around, but I'm still gonna Veil first. Since this is just straight up lethal. Cool. Game 3. Do I want any changes? I don't think I want Pact of Negations in. Don't want Xenagos. I don't need either of those targets. I don't really want the Neoform back in for anything else. No, just run it back. Alright, game 3, we have Endurance, multiple Planar Genesises. We have 2 Riders here with a Rider plus a Summoner's Pact, so we're relatively resistant to Thoughtseize. I think it's a keep. Do not need an Atraxa. Next turn, I'm a bit unsure whether I'm going to do Hedge Maze or I'm going to go Planar Genesis. It's a bit of a close one, actually. Thoughtseize? Yeah, sure. Probably just Hedge Maze. Continue to just fix my draw before I start fixing the cards that are already in my hand. We'll see what they take here, though. If they take Endurance, then I'm going to play Rainforest and potentially... Well, no. They Thoughtseized me, as they shouldn't ever be able to Goryos next turn. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. No, this is turn 2. Yeah, they could Goryos next turn, theoretically. Yeah, they took... Whoa. That's weird. Can I afford to wait? I think I can. Do I wait with Planar Genesis, or do I wait with a Surveil land, though? Or wait with Surveil. Mending is fine. Ooh, 5 non-land cards in hand. They discarded Riddler Griselbrand. That's very interesting. I'm going to fetch, put the Surveil on the stack, and in response, Planar Genesis. I do this mostly so that I can get an impulse, while at the same time I'm able to, like, fix the card on top of my deck while decreasing the number of lands in my library, because I don't want to see this Hedge Maze off of the Planar Genesis, because I would be seeing an additional card, since I'm going to be fetching that Hedge Maze anyway. It's not like I want that Hedge Maze in the impulse, which is just a brief overview of why I do this. Yeah, I'll just take a dispute. Do I want this? Some Summoner's Pact. Yeah, this is fine. I'm gonna disrespect them. Could be right to wait, but I'm just gonna disrespect them. I'm gonna say they don't have anything. Or they don't have 2. Pitch Genesis, pitch one of the Endurances. This is probably wrong. I'm just gonna make that clear. This might be a misplay, but it's like, not the kind of misplay that like, oh, you misclicked, or oh, it's for sure a misplay. This is much closer to just like, am I reading my opponent as having something, or am I reading them as not? And I'm gonna say probably should be actually reading them as having something. Interesting. Okay. And look at what just happened. All right. So yeah, they didn't even have a force of negation. I do not have Pact of Negations in the deck, so I don't want to be drawing in response, because if they... I want them to target it first, funnily enough. Let the evoke happen. Very glad they don't have an ephemerate. That would be actually a tiny bit awkward. Veil of Summer doesn't do anything here because they unfortunately don't have a ley line for some reason. For a very good reason, they're not domain. But alright, we're going to be just paying for the pact. A bit unfortunate, but that is how it do be. Pitch a Ghalta, pitch Generous Ent, maybe? I'll just bin the third Ghalta. Play a fetch. Oh wait, am I just able to Neoform? Yeah, I can just go again. Well, that's fun. The upsides of a... Oh wait, no, I can't. Because I boarded out the second Griselbrand, I only have one Atraxa left in the deck. Okay. That's fine. I discard Ghalta, land, Neoform, Misty. Leave myself with the Painless land. Can't believe this is working. Just putting 4 endurance in your deck and suddenly you're able to do things. Okay. Play a frog. I'll dispute that. Since I will have to pay for a pact here, I do just want the board as clear as possible. I don't really want to cycle this, honestly. Kind of want to just have it in hand. Ooh. It's nice. All right. 1-1. Both to the same exact deck. See you in match 3. All right, match 3. We're on the draw against Burgos Altered. Come on. Burgos Altered. Surely they're a Vexing Bauble deck. Surely. Okay, they were on Boros like a year ago. Come on. Come on, be on Vexing Bauble. Be on like 4 Vexing Baubles somehow. It's my dream. That is my dream. I want to put turn 1 Griselbrand into play, like the old days. When I was playing unfair Neoform that won in 1 turn. The number of times I won on turn 1, game 1. I was so good. Alright, they're here. This looks like a mulligan. Definitely in the blind a mulligan. This is like a turn 3 a reasonable amount of the time. If they mold a 5, I keep. If they don't, okay. This is like very marginal. It's a Planar Genesis hand. I'm on the draw, unfortunately, which makes it even worse. This might be a mulligan. I'm gonna keep this. It's like very, very close. But I'm gonna keep on the strength of turn 3 and hope it's good enough. Alright, well that's at least a green card. Hopefully I can just surveil a Neo... no, I can't surveil Neoform. So this is never turn 2-ing, which is a bit unfortunate. They play Mind Stone. Sure. They're passing with X equals 3 Kozilek's command. It's pretty good. They might do it in response here. No creature. Take the Neoform. Okay, the good thing here is that this is a Vexing Bauble deck. If this is not a Vexing Bauble deck, then I'm going to have words. I'm gonna think about Boseijuing. Yup. They're no longer gonna use Boseiju. They're not stuck on mana. And they scryed 1 to the top. Unfortunate. Karn gets a hate piece. Oh, they're on Karn. That means probably fewer Vexing Baubles, unfortunately. I'm still gonna do the thing, because the hope is that they just haven't. Trinisphere. Sure. Fetch. Surveil. No. And draw Rider or Summoner's Pact for the win. Hooting Mandrills actually does work as well. Alright. Well, this isn't technically for the win. I think I do grab Ghalta, funnily enough. Ghalta, put in Disciple, draw 13 cards. Hopefully I find another Neoform in there and like a Neoform Disciple into like an Atraxa or other things. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Ghalta. Ghalta Disciple. Draw a few cards. Perfect. Whoa, cancel. Alright. I did not draw the basic forest. So I'll just fetch that out there. This, pitching Planar Genesis and Evolution. Ghalta. Put a few cards into play. Grab Pact of Negation, Rider, Evolution. Don't need the land. Atraxa trigger. Grab Rider. Bridgeworks. Don't need Veil. I'll grab green card though, and I don't need the land. I guess I actually want this because it's a better land. Then pitch. All right. Let's see if my opponent can beat this board with 2 Force of Wills. Technically, if they're able to get a bridge in play, that's actually a bit of a problem. Sure. I love these board states. These board states never get old. I grab Vexing Bauble. I'll pact it. I'll pact it. Because obviously I can still draw with Griselbrand. And find, well, probably find a 3rd pact. So this was never a problem. Boom. Alright. Hopefully they have multiple Vexing Baubles. Now, how this is actually going to work, I don't know. Because this is unfortunately a Vexing Bauble matchup where Endurance is not good. Which is annoying. I'm going to side out Pact of Negations. This is like kind of what I've been doing. Setting into Summoner's Trap, Nature's Claims. Siding out of a couple of Veil of Summers, maybe. They're good against Vexing Bauble, is the thing. I can't side out any Chonkers, unfortunately. This is weird. Might be just side out all Planar Genesis, which is strange and probably wrong. Could be side out Eldritch Evolution because they're slow. And then just side in like 2 Endurance. We came here to do something. I'm gonna side in all the Endurance, take out 2 Summoner Specs. Maybe? I might be wrong. What can I side out instead? Hooting Mandrills? Side out Hooting Mandrills. Put a Pact back in. Side out a land, put a Pact back in. I don't know, we came here to do something. I trophied with it last night. I did not meet this matchup, and I have no idea how to sideboard. But this should be fun, if nothing else. Because I'm just hoping they play Vexing Bauble. That is what I'm praying for. This hand doesn't do anything. I'm gonna mulligan. I mean, technically plays a Rider, and you have a Consign to counter their first play, but you would need to find Neoform effect. I think I've removed 2 of them. Yeah. I'm gonna mull. Okay, well this is just keepable because it's a turn 2. Unfortunately, we have to keep the turn 2. I know, it's tragic. I can play around a sandbagged Vexing Bauble if I want to. This dies to exactly Dismember. I'm gonna say if they have Dismember, they have Dismember. I feel like it's more likely that they, funnily enough, top deck or sandbagged a Vexing Bauble. So, see how it works out. We have no Pact of Negations, which is maybe a small problem, but it's fine. I drew a Neoform. Sure. Downside of playing around the sandbag Vexing Baubles, we're not able to actually go for the kill here. I'm gonna draw here so I can... Well, I guess actually that doesn't really matter. Okay. Alright, play a Vexing Bauble, please. I only have 1 Ghalta left in the deck. It's important to think about. Whoa, they grabbed a tower? So they had natural Tron. Ugin. I'll draw in response. Okay. Also, small thing, you definitely want to make sure you discard a Ghalta here, in case with this draw I had drawn a Ghalta. I now have access to Endurance this back into my deck, which I would not have because I would have 2 Ghaltas stuck in my hand, 1 Ghalta stuck in exile, and I need to wait until my next cleanup phase to be able to discard it. Something kind of minor, but just something to think about, and it's also one of the reasons I draw immediately with Griselbrand, is so I can put a Ghalta into the graveyard immediately. They're just dead. They're just dead. Yeah. Alright. 2-0 there. Unfortunately, didn't get used Summoning Trap. They're probably a list that might not even have more than 1 Vexing Bauble, unfortunately, just because they have a Karn board. But still, I mean, that's kind of what the deck is supposed to do in that, like, post-sideboard, I really want to do one broken thing. And siding out Eldritch Evolutions and siding in Summoning Trap makes it more likely I do that broken thing faster. Wow, I hate this hand. I'm gonna keep. Like, top decking a Neoform means I turn 2 win. Top decking any land means I am actually pretty happy, especially with Pact of Negation in my hand for, like, most matchups. Okay. That's fine. Saga? That shouldn't matter. What is this? Well, as I said, it shouldn't matter. I do just win the game, correct? Summoner's Pact for land. Summoner's Pact for Rider, pitch, Genesis, Eldritch Evolution. See, I can't bin this. So, I don't even need the extra green card. Because it's Rider, pitching Genesis, Summoner's Pact for land, Neoform, Ghalta, put in Xenagos. Yeah, I'm fine. I guess if they leave up Cryogen Relic on up to one target tapped creature. Oh, never mind. That's fine. Yeah, they're still dead. Manufacturing. Sure. Yeah, none of this matters. All I'm seeing right now is that they have a deck that should have 2 Vexing Baubles in it, hopefully. What was this, Kappa? I beat a Kappa, right? Yeah. 24, they block 6. Yeah, they're dead. Wonderful. Rider. Disciple. Rider. Ghalta. Put in Xenagos. Win the game. They can block, they still take 18. That's fine. They're still taking 18. Alright, cite in a bunch of nature's claims, mystical disputes, cite out Pact of Negations. Alright, we're gonna do the thing, because we came here to do the thing, we're gonna do the thing. So I'm looking to cite in entire sideboard, maybe? Something close to that? Maybe fewer endurances. So that means we're looking for 15 cuts. And those 15 cuts are going to be all the Eldritch Evolutions, because I want to. Hooting Mandrills, because I want to. Xenagos, because I want to. Some number of these Summoners packs, because I want to. Maybe all of them, because I want to. Other than that, yeah, if I haven't mentioned, this is just, we're gonna maximize doing broken things as fast as possible. Looking for 2 more cuts. You can cut a land. Well, a land in a Generous Ent. And then I'll put in 1 fewer endurance. Something like that. Or I could just full commit, put in all the endurances. What's the last cut here? This is a bit tough. Um, it could just be one more land, genuinely. Since we're siding out like all of the 3 mana things we want to do, like no more Eldritch Evolutions. Came here to do one thing. I'm gonna side out Missile Dispute, maybe, maybe not. Side out Genesis. That was probably wrong, but I don't know what to side out. So, all right, we used less than 2 minutes to win last game. Love that. Love playing Neoform. Love to be back. Yeah, I was playing Standard for the Regional Championship, which was fun. Hand does nothing. This hand does something. This hand does a lot of something. See, this is the kind of hand that's like, I really don't care what they do. Because I'm going to, if they play Vexing Bauble, I'm happy. If they don't play a Vexing Bauble, I'm happy. So, like, I'm chilling. They're gonna get combo turn 2, hopefully. What does that mean? Force of negation? Certainly implies it. I'm not gonna respect it, though. Do I respect it? I kind of can, right? Like, try to wait one more turn. It definitely does get better for me a vast majority of the time. Like, it feels strange. But the fact that I have Summoning Trap means that they're not able to go Vexing Bauble and I'm suddenly ruined. Like, I just straight up ignore a Vexing Bauble and I'm happy. Yep. Because, like, they played Weapons Manufacturing, then they didn't play any artifacts. Which could mean they were, yeah, waiting to do Pinnacle Emissary, but it does kind of imply that they have Force of Negation. I think I can still afford to wait. Like, if I didn't go last turn, I'm not supposed to go this turn. Now Vexing Bauble milled. It's unfortunate. So that's rebuying Bauble or Opal here. Since I'm discarding card, I will be just doing this, I think. Well, is that not unfortunate? um... Like, if I do this, they sack tune response, kill this. And then they don't have access to Force of Negation anymore. So I can do this. It's strange, but I think it's right. I've been playing around Force of Negation this entire time, so I think I should continue, and this does do that perfectly, funnily enough. Yeah, if after all this they had Metallic Rebuke, I will be that'll be entertaining. Oh, they get Closet Gex. Yeah, that's fine. If they point everything at Griselbrand, I'm able to draw cards. And if they don't do that, I don't know. I'm definitely in a worse spot than I would be if I had just like fired it off and they didn't have it. So I could definitely see that being a wrong play, but it's like it's kind of close because it did feel like they had a Force of Negation. Not entirely sure, but it feels right. Yeah, go to my turn. They can be gaining life. Right. Right. So they can sacrifice drone tokens here. That's a bit of a problem. It says warped. So I can do that whenever. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe I did need to go earlier. Since I did let them like fully set up all of this, it's like kind of a problem. They're able to guaranteed put two more in play, but that would mean almost tapping out. Yeah, it might just be dead here. It's funny. Currently one off being dead. Any zero works. Or no, they can just attack. Yep, that works. Wow. Okay. Funny. I'm not changing anything. We came here to do one thing. I'm gonna do that thing. I should have probably disrespected it, but it feels like they probably did have the Force of Negation, and I just didn't draw the land for too long. Fortunately, no lands, otherwise I'd keep that. This might be a mulligan, might be a keep. Has the freeze spell and the part that will counter it, but it can draw, so it can draw Neoform, or it can draw Summoning Trap, presuming they have a Vexing Bauble. I'm gonna keep. I'm out of. I should have been to land, not the green card. That's actually kind of rough. Whoops. Whoa, Island Go. Affinity. Was that weapons manufacturing draw? We came here to do something. Come on, let's do it. Alright, I need a green card still. And this is why I should have kept the Bridgeworks instead of the basic or the breeding pool. One or the other. Which is my bad. What the hell? What is their hand? It's unfortunately just a win con. Otherwise, I would let that go. But they can just make constructs, and if they don't grab Vexing Bauble, I'm screwed. Could be I'm supposed to, like, go for a trap play here, but, like, it's, like, really rough to do so. Okay. Yeah, would really appreciate having the green card instead of this island right now. Alright, so now they can play weapons manufacturing. They currently don't have a way to sacrifice anything, which is nice. But they're just passing. Interesting. Alright, well, my third surveil land is gone, so that does nothing, unfortunately. I should have cracked that in my upkeep. Almost definitely. Come on. Weapons manufacturing. Don't know why they played Bauble first, but they did. Come on, play Vexing Bauble. Do it. Do it. This is strange because I can't beat Forest plus Metallic right now. Which is like what they have. So I'm gonna pass. If they have a Claws of Gix, they have a Claws of Gix. I can beat a Sink into Stupor with the Veil at least. Weapons. That's a problem. Maybe. Well, that will be a problem. Once they get a Claws of Gix or an Engineered Explosives, that will be a huge problem. So again, I just have to hope they don't have Claws of Gix. Alright, lovely. I might be playing around too many things here. It could be I'm just supposed to jam, but it does really feel like they have, like, Rebuke plus Force of Negation. Like, not a lot else can really explain their, like, the way they're acting. Because they're not playing artifacts into weapons manufacturing, really. They had, what, like 4 cards in hand right there? Come on. Okay. Now I have to jam. Okay, I'm beating a Spell Pierce. What? All Veil of Summer? Okay, this worked. What? I was not expecting that. I was not expecting Spell Pierces out of them. Wow. Okay. Strange. I'll grab Griselbrand. This is an 8/8 flying lifelinker. So if they want to crack explosives here, they can. No. Get Pinnacle? That's... I'm taking 14. Nah, it's just lethal. Wow, that's rude. After all that. So yeah, evidently I could have just gone for a last turn. I wasn't thinking about Spell Pierce. I keep forgetting that, like, people are starting to run Spell Pierce now. Because, like, before Boros and stuff, Spell Pierce was, like, basically never seen. But I think it has been, like, gaining a bit of traction again. Pass to my upkeep for no reason, please. Nah, okay. Where are the targets? Yeah, if they passed to my upkeep, I could draw in response, go to 11, then replicate Consign 5 times to counter 2 damage each. And I'd be alive. Yeah, I'm dead. That was sweet. Lost to Affinity. They never played a Vexing Bauble, unfortunately. We got queued against Boy Toy Troy. That's fun. Fun name. What are they? They were on Tron a day ago. How many Vexing Baubles? Come on. Come on. Okay, Karn board. What? That is sad. 1 Vexing Bauble in main, though. Not inside? Wow, that is sad. Okay. This is like a turn 3 most of the time, so I'm gonna keep because I'm on the play. Meticulous Archive, so probably Blink. of some variant, or it could be Esper Goryos for the third time this league. Okay, so they're not on Tron, which, yeah, I'm happy with that. Summer's Pact, Pitch Mandrills, Atraxa. Alright, so yeah, we have combo with a Pact of Negation in hand. So that means, I don't know what we're exactly looking for on top, but we don't need anything. That's funnily enough a bit awkward. I'm gonna bin it. But now I am forced to. Never mind. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Does that change anything? Means I could go Summer's Pact, grab Ghalta, put in a Atraxa. That's not better than grabbing a Griselbrand here, though. I'm gonna leave myself a Mandrills. Seems like it might be important, and since I only have one in the deck, it's nice to not have to exile it to Rider. Grab Griselbrand. I'm just gonna pitch both Ghaltas. This is awkward into Solitude Ephemerate. But I have to draw in response to a Solitude anyway, so I might need to Pact of Negation that Solitude regardless, because I need to find a Consign for sure. Also, it seems like they might not be on black, which is very nice. Oh wait, they have a Kahira. Whoops. I kind of just jammed. I guess no, I would have jammed the same amount. But I did not realize. Okay, so yeah, we are solituding. Shouldn't have Ephemerate though. How fine am I with you solituding now? Very fine, because yeah, because now I can. Sure. So I want to construct my hand. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Discard all of these probably. Actually, I don't need another Pact of Negation here because I decided to let that go. This is actually a bit strange. Yeah, maybe I did need to Pact of Negation that. It's interesting. Just because I need to discard down to 7 cards. So these are relatively easy. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can keep one more card. Might just be Boseiju. Might be the Veil of Summer. Let's do this. the fairy. No. Because I didn't keep the land, I'm unable to Neoform. Rough. Alright. If they have a Wrath of God, I don't want to play out Mandrills, so I will not. Sure. Sure. Yeah, I should have pacted the Solitude, by the way. I wasn't really paying enough attention. Draw a card, get 2 energy. Sure. They could have Force of Negation now, so I definitely want to keep the Veil of Summer. First is attack Narset. Second is Neoform. Grab Griselbrand. Go to 3. I still have a basic forest in the deck, I believe. Forest is not gone. Forest is not gone. It really does not matter since I don't have main deck endurance. I want to keep Consigns. Veil of Summer, Eldritch Evolution. Don't need Neoforms anymore. How many Atraxas do I have? I have no more Atraxas left in the deck. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could technically keep Disciple, maybe. It's a land. Instead of second Veil. Seems fine. Almost misclicked that. That's fine though. Tune. Can't tune for 8, so that's fine. No, you have a counterspell in hand. Orm's Chant. Planar Genesis in response. And I will Pact this because it forces him to use the counterspell in his hand. Yep. Which I can Veil if I want. That seems fine. Put him to 1. Pass the turn, and even if he goes Supreme Verdict, I can technically go Summoner's Pact, grab... No, I don't have an Endurance. If I had an Endurance, I could go Summoner's Pact, Pitchcast Endurance, consign the trigger. Seems likely I have the win. What is this? Solitude? I'll consign the trigger and you're still dead. Though you'd still be dead, actually. Yeah, they'd still be dead, even if this worked. Because they block, they take 2. No, they're not dead, actually. Yeah, that would have worked. Because lifelink. Cool. Alright. So, there's a problem. Time to go check out what blue-white control if they run Vexing Bauble. I don't think they do. Control. It's probably relatively close to this. I'm seeing none. I'm seeing a bunch of counter spells. I just don't think I can side in summoning traps, unfortunately. I think this just has to be a I'm gonna combo fast matchup, technically, with the sideboard. Normally, against this kind of deck, you might want to take it slower and actually just try to build up more resources and more counter spells, more interaction than your opponent. But the problem is I turned my sideboard into summoning trap endurance pile, which does not really do the best. I can cut a couple no, I can't. I can probably just actually cut that and that. Yeah, I'm just gonna look to actually just combo fast with a bit of protection, which is not the best way to beat blue-white control. To be very clear, it is not the best way to beat it, but it is what I need to do with my sideboard configuration. This does not work either. I ripped 3 lands. This is a phenomenal hand. Let's rip 3 lands. They're on disputes, yeah. Okay. Alright, ready to see land 1? There's land 1. It would be really funny if this works. I think it has... Since it only needs 2 lands to function, since it has Genesis, it's like technically reasonable, maybe? Maybe. Alright. Teferi is unbeatable. I should have cycled Veil in response to that. but it is just straight up, I think, unbeatable here. I can go for it, no protection. Say they don't have force. It's not the worst idea. Is it getting better for me? See, I can Genesis looking for a land. Then I start with a Veil of Summer. But that doesn't beat a lot. I'm gonna say they don't have force. I'm gonna disrespect. Alright, they had force. I was gonna hit a land with the Genesis, which I would have been able to look at a Neoform, which I probably would have topped. Yeah, I mean, that probably wasn't better for me. Am I changing what I'm doing here? No. I'm just gonna jam as fast as I can with as much protection as I have. Which is not, again, not how to approach this matchup, but it's what I have to do when I have a terrible sideboard. Sure. Don't love it, but it's good against, what's it called? Mystical Dispute. Just needs a few lands. They kept 7 as well. That's a bit annoying, but fine. Perfect. And knowing that I'm not able to feed Mandrills here, but I do just need the land. Excuse me. Yuck. Okay. Whoa. Isn't that strange? I already have a Neoform effect. It's like really funny to bin that considering I get to go next turn with 1 layer of protection. But I don't think 1 layer of protection is going to be good enough. I could be wrong, considering that layer of protection also would include a consign for a subtlety. Not that I think they're likely to have subtlety. I think it works right because it's an elemental. I believe it does. Okay, holding a blue. Mostly next turn I'm able to beat a Teferi. So, has that slightly nice thing. That needed to not be my draw. Okay, well I can't go now. Tuning. These are fine because they're just redraws. They're not actually banking anything, banking energy for anything important. They're getting mana though, and okay, threw a Neoform anyway. This is strange, but I think I need to start doing something. Sure, you have an Orms chant. What happens? I play a guy. I pass the turn. Second consult. That's a problem. But hey, that means that he'll need to untap. He'll probably need to have a Solitude for the Mandrills, maybe. This is technically workable. Technically. Very technically. They have 8 cards in hand, but I have a Mandrills, they have 6 mana, so if they have a Solitude, I'm probably screwed. They aren't able to answer the Mandrills, then I'm like potentially happy. Whoa. Okay. Wish I could have disputed that, but okay, whoa. Okay, interesting. So you're probably going to have access to... They're probably going to have access to 2 pieces of interaction here. Unfortunately, I only have access to 1. I'm hoping that somehow they have like 2 mystical disputes here, and they have to fetch and tap out to try to counter this. Like that is like the only way I think this works. Eh? Eh? They should just have a force here, but if they don't. Oh, they don't. What the? This worked? What? Okay. What the hell does that mean? So I haven't used pacts. I have a Consign in hand, though. But they could have Teferi. 3-mana Teferi. Whoa, I was not expecting this to resolve. So I have a few lines here. I can just grab Griselbrand. I could just grab Atraxa. I could grab Ghalta, Summoner's Pact into Atraxa, put Ghalta, Atraxa, then I'm still able to pay for the Pact, so it doesn't matter as much. That's probably my line. I'm not supposed to, I think, go for the second Pact, only because it just leaves me more vulnerable to a Teferi. Nice, I get Griselbrand too. I want that over an Atraxa trigger. Instant, I'll take Consign. Land. Okay, hold on. This is awful. Take Eldritch Evolution over a Neoform, since I already have a Neoform too. And then it's like Boseiju or Misty Rainforest. Yeah, maybe that's wrong actually. I'll take this just in case if they like somehow get me into a Worms Chant lock, then I have an answer in my hand. And I'm still not pacting because even though it might be actually right to pact at this point for a Ghalta, I still have a Ghalta on my deck, right? Yeah, Ghalta and then draw cards in response, put them into play. Then probably have a Pact of Negation. Draw a card. Yep. I'm just not drawing drawing cards until I need to, I think is the plan. I could be wrong. I could just be supposed to draw right now. Well, I'm supposed to draw right now. So if I find a Pact of Negation, I will rip it off here. Maybe. Let me draw again. Because the slight problem here is if they... Okay, so I have 2 Pact of Negations. So if they counter the Pact of Negations, that's fine. The issue arises if they go land another Teferi. I mean, what does this do? It means that I have to pay for my own Summoner's Pact. And it bounces one of these. I'm not attacking for lethal then. And it means I'm suddenly unable to interact if they go land Wrath of God. Though I'm not really able to interact anyway if they do that, because it would be Supreme Verdict, which is uncounterable. I'm gonna pact this just because I have a second pact. There shouldn't be many like cards in hand that they could have here that beat this. And if they want to counter the Pact of Negation, then I'm relatively happy with that. Yeah, they had the land. There's the Wrath. Yep, Wrath happens. But now I just have 2 pact triggers, and I should be just chilling, even though they get to untap 2 things. Yeah. I have no endurances, so that is 1 of each of my creatures and 2 Ghalts is gone. Okay. That's important to think about. Replicate once, because I have more. Especially with this Pact of Negation, this should be an unlosable fight here. They dispute on that. What do I want to use here? Probably just another Consign. Cool. That all worked. Which means I'm now able to go land, Rider, pitching Pact, Evo. I'm pretty sure I'm just supposed to Neoform this. Ghalta. I'm supposed to play at least one of these packs. Atraxa Ghalta means I look at all of the cards in my library. Ah, this is strange. How many more Pact of Negations do I have? I have one there, so I have one more in the deck, so that would guarantee grabbing it. How many more Consigns do I have? I guess I could just look in the deck. Okay, so I have one more Consign. So I probably would be able to get both the Pact and the Consign. Decent shot I would be, or at least multiple Veil of Summers with that. I guess the slight problem is then I won't have lethal next turn. So I probably actually shouldn't have Pacted here. Whoops. I guess I can sacrifice Atraxa. Let this resolve. Atraxa trigger resolves first. Rider, Veil. Sorcery. Don't need the land. And then playing Rider. So that means I can just sacrifice Ghalta here. And play out Riders. Then I just line up all the interaction I have. Bridgeworks Battle maybe. And I want that. Want the Consign. It's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't really need the Boseiju. I guess I have a problem if they just go Wrath of God, funnily enough. Because then I have no way to win. That'd be entertaining. They shouldn't run many Supreme Verdicts, though. Yeah, that'd be a really fun way to lose. Okay, I have double Force of Will. I will pact that. Otherwise, I lose. But that was one of their 2 draws, chances are. They had it. Wow, okay. That's rough. Yeah, this is actually a rough match to lose. There was definitely a line there where I could have taken to not lose to that. Not last turn, maybe, but sometime in the past. That's... Yeah, rough. I have no way to win. Wow, alright. Well, I definitely could have found a different line there. That's like, I mean, you could make an argument that's a misplay, but, yeah, they just kept on having Wrath of Gods. I didn't cite an Endurance. I guess that was probably actually the misplay. I should have cited in an Endurance, because if I cited an Endurance there, I'm still winning. But I did not. And so I lose. Now, that's an important lesson. Probably have 1 Endurance. That's the reason I like Endurance in the main. I have them all on the side just because this is like summoning trap build where I was just like shaving all of the flex spots in the main deck for like more big creatures, more Griselbrands, more Ghaltas, more Atraxas. But this definitely shows why I like 1 Endurance in the main and then maybe some number in the sides in a more normal brew, or I guess not brew, in a more stock list. Which I don't see as much. I see a decent amount. 1 Endurance in main, like 1 inside, that's pretty common. So yeah, I would recommend that. That was pretty good. Didn't play a single matchup where Summoning Trap actually came up. Didn't see a single Vexing Bauble. That mattered, unfortunately. Um, Last night when I trophied with it, it came up once. And the one game that I actually lost, if they had had a Vexing Bauble, it would have come up again. But is it good? No. No, definitely not. I mean, you're basically putting 4 sideboard slots plus like more if you count endurances, just to have this like weird little way to beat like decks that you are already good against. Because what decks bring in Vexing Bauble? Mostly fair decks. Because mostly it's the fairy decks that have a problem with like Living End, with Rhinos, with other stuff like that. Those are the decks that really bring in Vexing Bauble against you. And you don't really need the help against those decks. Like normally if you just have the combo and then are looking for a way and eventually answer the Vexing Bauble, because you have so many ways. You have Consigns, Veil of Summers, the extra Veil of Summer in the side, and any Nature's Claims or any other disenchant effects you have in your sideboard. Like you have so many ways to deal with a Vexing Bauble that there's just no way this is good, but it is really funny. So yeah. Good stuff. Subscribe, and maybe I'll make another video within more, or I guess less than 2 months.